What is going on? Oh, whoa!
Burns, what
I was like,
doing?
whoa!
I was like waiting for the music. I was like, "Where's the music?" dude?
Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for joining us here for Alarm Fantasy Football. Watching us here on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. And if you like the content that we provide over here for free, come on over to fantasyalarm.com and make sure you get some of our free content over there. But you also subscribe to fantasyalarm.com. Get everything we got going on here. I am your host, Howard Bender. With me, of course, Andrew Cooper. And while Thanksgiving is just 2 days away, it's still waiver wire time right now. I know you got some Thursday lineup questions you want to sneak in. We are not going to be doing the Thanksgiving themed Alarm Fantasy Football today. Tomorrow, Coop promises to dress up like a pilgrim, don't you, Coop? Is that what you're doing? You got like the hat with the buckle on it and everything.
You know, I actually did have one of those, and I don't know if I still have it. But if I do, I'll be rocking it. We'll see if we can find it.
Folks, load up those questions in the chat. I see it. Look, already loaded up real nicely already. Get all those waiver wire questions in. Like I said, if you do have players that are going on Thursday and you need to hit some lineup stuff, then we can talk about those players. But again, with the, I know we've got a Black Friday game, but then we've got a whole other main slate on Sunday. So if you're asking about Sunday players, we still have plenty of news that we're going to have to get through as well. And we'll hit some of the NFL news today. We're going to give you our top 3 waiver wire claims at each position as well. And then, of course, answer all your questions here in chat. We'll start off, Coop, with a little bit of Monday Night Football, some final thoughts on Chiefs-Eagles. Eagles come away with a 21-17 win. Chiefs should have won that game had it not been for the excessive drops. Like, come on. Chiefs need a number 1 wide receiver desperately, don't they?
Right. It's tough. And again, Evan Engram had a drop just like this prime time where it's tough to blame the entire game on one play, but every once in a while you do have one play that would have won the game. So you can't necessarily say that, he lost the game by himself because there were a lot of opportunities to do different things. But when you drop that pass at that time, just like Tyler Boyd did the other week, yeah, I mean, it's a huge leverage play. He had an opportunity to win the game. So you can't say he necessarily lost it, but he did not take the opportunity to win it. That's the nicest way I can say it.
Dude, collectively, the Chiefs receivers lost it. I saw Kelsey with some drops. I saw, MVS, obviously, that critical one, Rashee Rice. Justin Watson had that first down. It hit him in the hands. So
right. Kadarius Toney ran the wrong way on a couple different plays, including a handoff. A lot of mistakes.
Bonehead anyway.
He really is, but you see the electricity every once in a while though. Like that punt return where he was jiving everywhere. He was juking around. I know he only got like 15, 20 yards on it, but it's there. It's in there somewhere, isn't it?
He ran 75 yards to get 20. Good job.
Exactly. Yeah.
We love that so much. But I mean, listen, it makes you kind of wonder, how did the Chiefs not go after a guy like Devontae Adams who wanted out? I know the Raiders were going to make it difficult for, to trade him within the division, but man, if you're the Chiefs, there are a number of receivers out there. Try and grab Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, anybody out there who's got some sure hands. Justin Watson ain't cutting it. Marquez Valdez-Scantling ain't cutting it. As much as I love Rashee Rice, still a rookie, still inexperienced. It's a tough one there.
And look around, man. It's like, how did the Eagles get A.J. Brown? They traded for him. How did the Bills get Stephon Diggs? They traded for him. These players didn't fall into the laps of these teams. And honestly, as a Patriots fan, for years I felt that way where they just said, okay, we have Tom Brady, so we don't need to do this, right? And, of course, Edelman was good and Welker was good, but they probably wouldn't have been as good without Brady. And then the one time they went out and got him an elite weapon, what happened? 50 touchdown passes, 23 touchdowns for Randy Moss, and then they never did it again. And you look around and say, you know what? Maybe the trick isn't just to lean on your quarterback and give him scraps. What if you just get him another weapon and now it's wheels up? So I'm with you on that, man. They should have drafted Rice and also added somebody else. That would have felt good.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. You need a number 1 wide receiver. Yes, I get it that Kelsey is the number 1 pass catcher, but you can't sit and rely on Kelsey the entire time. Tight end is a different situation than the wide receiver, and Kelsey's not the guy who's streaking down the sidelines or even running a post pattern up the middle in order to kind of get that work into him. So I will say, I'll shout out to Isaiah Pacheco, who ran like a beast. DeAndre Swift looked good in this one here. Devonta Smith looked great. A.J. Brown obviously dealing with some heavy coverage there. So, overall, I liked the game. I had a good time watching it, and congratulations to the Eagles for evening up, that vengeance for the Super Bowl.
Right. Jason, this is the first time Jason Kelsey's beat his brother. So kudos to him on that.
Right? There it is. Well, you know what? I mean, listen, let's face it. Jason is definitely the more lovable of the Kelsey.
He's the man. Yeah,
I'll shout out to Travis and his love with Taylor Swift, who was not in attendance. Beautiful thing. But Jason Kelsey, I mean, I love those guys in the trenches, especially a center. A center. Come on. It's like that's the linchpin of every offense.
He still moves well for center, man. They got him 36 years old pulling on run plays, dude. And he's getting out in front and making plays, dude. I can see him coming back for one more. I can see him coming back.
There is a ton of news that I'm just gonna kind of roll through some of it. Some warrants discussion, some really doesn't. I know I want to get to the questions in chat and help you guys out. We also want to cover our top 3 waiver wire players at each position. But the big news this morning, Coop, Pittsburgh fires Matt Canada. Kenny Pickett still the starting quarterback. Mike Tomlin came out and said that specifically today. But Matt Canada gone. I guess the quarterback coach is going to be calling the plays. They expect the running back coach to turn into the actual offensive coordinator, at least for the interim right now.
Yeah, and I like Eddie Faulkner, man. He seems like a really level-headed guy, and he actually really likes Najee Harris. Like he's been the guy that's defended Najee Harris a lot. So maybe we do see more of a split moving forward because he's definitely in his corner. But yeah, it's about time, man. It's about time. And honestly, even though he defended Kenny Pickett here, I would not be surprised to see Kenny Pickett be the next shoe to drop on this team because it'll never be Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's too good of a coach, man. The fact that he's won all these games, I mean, you look at the record, it's crazy that this team has won this many games given what they've been dealing with. So Mike Tomlin's a legend, and I think that Canada's first, Pickett next.
Well, I mean, listen, to me, it kind of mirrors the Jets situation there. It's a horrible offensive coordinator and a completely inexperienced quarterback, so at least Tomlin is like, all right, if we're getting rid of Canada, let's see if Kenny Pickett still has what it takes, or if we need to explore that further. I'm willing to at least give him the shot. This is the kid that we drafted, and I was part of that decision-making as far as who we were drafting. With the Jets, they were like, all right, well, we'll just bench Zach Wilson for Tim Boyle and think that that's going to help, when really the major problem there is Nathaniel Hackett. So
yeah, have you looked at Tim Boyle's college stats? Somebody sent them to me, and I couldn't believe it.
I don't even want to know. I
have to tell you, dude.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to know. I don't want to know because I'll tell you what. I've said it before. The definition of an insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And the Jets continue to shoot themselves in the foot. If they genuinely think that Tim Boyle or Trevor Siemian is going to help turn things around while they wait for Aaron Rodgers to come back, no, it's not working. By the time Aaron Rodgers even thinks about stepping on the field, the Jets will be mathematically eliminated, and end of story. Don't even, Coop. Don't even
chat. Go look up Tim Boyle's stats at UConn.
Yeah, all right, chat. You go. Jerk.
We won't do it here, but just go check them out there. Right. I mean, somebody sent them to me, and I was like, this can't be right. I think you wonder if he was like, I was like, did he play a different position besides quarterback? But no, he was a quarterback.
All right. In other news, let's see. Belichick still is not named a starting quarterback for the Patriots. That's really nobody cares. No structural issue to Geno Smith's elbow, so he is expected to be back on the field, although it is a short week for him. So, I would be hesitant to use Geno Smith because you never know if you're going to see Drew Lock pop in here. No structural issue is great. Still a short week.
Yeah, no, I'm fully with you, man. I'm too scared of that, dude. And yeah, Drew Lock, that's ugly stuff. So, I mean, for this slate, 6 games, you can do without Geno.
Yeah.
Now, do we fade everybody though? Do we fade DK? Everybody, you think?
No. I started putting the Thanksgiving Day playbook together, and I actually I've got a little Jackson Smith-Njigba in there.
Ooh,
Slot
I like
receiver, working out. Has been dealing with Drew Lock probably a bunch, early on. So San Francisco weak against those slot receivers. We've seen it.
Tyler Lockett banged up. I like the idea, man.
See, you know what, man?
You've done this.
This you've done this sometimes
before.
It works.
No, got no Brown bouncing around in there still.
No, he's not. Derek Carr still in concussion protocol, so we still might see Jameis Winston this week. We're going to have to pay attention to that. Arthur Smith says Desmond Ridder will start. Stefanski says Dorian Thompson-Robinson's going to start. And that's for the quarterbacks. As far as running backs go, Kyron Williams expected to be back according to Sean McVay. Kenneth Walker not considered a candidate for injured reserve at this time from Pete Carroll. I also have a little, along with Jackson Smith-Njigba, Coop, I got me a splash here of a little Zach Charbonnet, even against this San Francisco defense.
Yeah, no, I'm fully with you on that. And when we get around to the underdog segment, I might be willing to put my moolah on it.
Ooh.
If you catch my drift.
Cooper Kupp with a low ankle sprain. So day to day, Kevin O'Connell says Justin Jefferson once again questionable for this week. So, hang on with that. Andrews has an outside chance to return this season. Mark Andrews, that is. That doesn't really matter. That doesn't move the needle. None of that's moving the needle for me. So, all right. Coop, before we jump over to the chat, let's do our fantasy alarm top 3 waiver claims at each position. Britt Flynn does the waiver wire article over at fantasyalarm.com. That is free for everybody. So go on over there, check it out. She's got players listed. She's also got fab bidding suggestions in there for those of you who still have a couple of fab dollars left. Britt's got some work there. Coop, here we go. At the quarterback position, top 3 right now. And we're going to, don't even say Tim Boyle. I will slap you right through there. Baker Mayfield.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Baker Mayfield, the tandem of either Derek Carr or Jameis Winston out of New Orleans, and Jordan Love. Those are Britt's top 3 quarterback waiver wire options. Who do you like?
Yeah, so Baker's been solid. I've been using him in some spots, but the guy that I like best of this crew, and I just want to say right now that I think Britt across the board knocked it out with her article this week. So go check it out. A lot of times, we'll disagree on certain things. I didn't find a lot of spots where I was disagreeing, especially at tight end, which is my favorite. But at quarterback, the guy on this list I'm liking best is Derek Carr, because the injury he has is a concussion. As soon as he's cleared, he's good to go. So he might not be back this week, but coming out of the bye, maybe he will. And when you look at the schedule for this team down the stretch, it goes Atlanta, Detroit, Carolina, New York Giants, Los Angeles Rams, Tampa Bay. And that's your playoff schedule. It was the Rams, Tampa Bay, Giants. That is beautiful, baby. So yeah, give me some Derek Carr, man. I think he's solid enough.
All right. At the running back position, she's got listed Zach Charbonnet with Kenneth Walker an oblique injury. Ty Chandler, who, even though Alexander Madison came back, Ty Chandler still got plenty of work against Denver. And then finally, she's got Jeff Wilson here with Devon Achane back out with another injury. Your Abe Simpson hat on the thing, spin around, walk on out. That happened with Devon Achane, so she's got Jeff Wilson in here. Charbonnet, Chandler, Wilson, prioritize those.
Yeah, we warned of that exact thing that could happen. It's why I said Raheem Mostert staying in my lineups, staying on my rosters, because you know what? When guys are banged up, they're more likely to not only get the same injury, but also suffer complementary injuries, right? Like you're nursing your right leg and all of a sudden now you're leaning too much on the left leg. It used to happen with Victor Cruz all the time. So in this case, Devon Achane came out, hurt the same knee, which is even scarier. But the guy that I'm going after here is Zach Charbonnet, because he had already carved out a pass catching role. Kenneth Walker was already hurt. And when I hear the description of this injury, a non-contact oblique injury, right, where they're still doing testing on that, that sounds awful, man. That sounds, if you've ever woken up on the wrong side of the bed, as an older guy, that sounds like you get up and you're just like, oh, what was that? So the non-contact oblique sounds like a real problem. And the thing with Charbonnet is, worst case scenario, Walker comes back, he goes back to being the pass catching back, which I was already kind of liking as is. So now you're getting a full-time guy that, worst case, goes back to being a guy maybe used for injuries and bye weeks. So I'm in on Charbonnet.
Yeah, I'm in on Charbonnet as well, especially this week. Again, if you think that they're going to be behind going up against San Francisco, Charbonnet is going to catch some passes out of the flat. That's what's going to happen, whether it's Drew Lock or Geno Smith. And I'll tell you what, Geno Smith with the elbow issue might be more inclined to be throwing some checkdowns as well, as opposed to zipping it downfield. We'll stay tuned for more injury news on Geno Smith moving forward. The wide receiver position, top 3 waiver claims we got listed here. We can go with another. We got another 2-for-1 special here in Green Bay. Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks. Everybody's in on Dontavian Wicks. Then there's Odell Beckham, and then Khalil Shakir, who got a lot of slot receiving love against the New York Jets, but we know that's where you attack the Jets. Does Shakir have the value moving forward? And who do you like out of this group?
Yeah, my concern for Shakir is that his role changed when Dawson Knox got hurt and they stopped using as much 2 tight end sets. So he just played a lot more. I worry he's going to go back, because Knox, he's not going to come back and be, a full-time guy the way Kincaid's playing, but I think he's going to play enough that they're going to have to rotate. The guy I'm going after here is Jaden Reed. And let me tell you, I had a bit of a mini rant on Sunday morning with John and Pemba where I said, go out and buy Jaden Reed and Josh Downs right now in your dynasty leagues, because right now they're part-time players that are playing mostly out of the slot and they come out of the game for 2 wide receiver sets. And I was like, at some point, if this guy keeps playing as well as he does, that's going to change. Well, to some degree, it actually changed this weekend, where Jaden Reed, for the first time all year, played more snaps than Romeo Doubs, and he played 15 snaps out wide, which is the most he's played all season. So he still played his 31 slot snaps, but he played 15 out wide. That tells me they're saying, hey, you know what? This guy is too talented to take off the field. So if he becomes a full-time player at any point, he's going to take off the same way Chris Godwin did once they got rid of Deshaun Jackson and Adam Humphrey, and it was him and Evans. It might not fully be wheels up this year, but the way he's been playing, even getting a couple carries, man, you cannot leave Jaden Reed on the waiver wire.
No, definitely not. Finally, our waiver wire, top 3 waiver wire tight ends. Isaiah Likely with Mark Andrews out possibly for the entire season, even though Harbaugh's trying to give everybody some hope. Cade Otton out of Tampa Bay. We love a guy who plays 98% of the snaps. Luke Musgrave, still available in a lot of leagues for Green Bay, sort of becoming a little bit of a target monster for Jordan Love. What do you like?
Yeah, so unless your benches are crazy shallow, and I've preached, Howard, I've preached this forever, that if you live in this world, you should be rostering 2 tight ends, especially since a guy like Isaiah Likely still has a bye week coming up. And you look around, if you lost Mark Andrews, somebody's going to be going out and adding a tight end this week. And then over the next 2 weeks after this, TJ Hawkinson, Isaiah Likely, Dalton Kincaid, Cole Kmet, Trey McBride, Logan Thomas all have a bye week. The wire for tight end is about to get crazy thin. So don't sleep. If you have TJ Hawkinson, you need to add one of these guys right now. Isaiah Likely, I did a breakdown on my timeline of why the game wasn't as bad for him as the box score said. It said 0 catches on 2 targets, but the reality is he got a look that got tipped. Nelson Aguilar caught that. That doesn't go in as a target. He caught a pass where there was a holding on John Simpson. That doesn't go in the book as a target. He had another play. He was wide open and Lamar Jackson slipped. I think Lamar Jackson slipped about 17 times during that game. There were opportunities there for Isaiah Likely that didn't show up in the box score, and this guy played virtually every snap when Andrews was out. The floor isn't great, but the ceiling for Likely is higher than you're going to get from any of these guys on the wire. If you want the safest possible play, it's Cade Otton. Cade Otton already had his bye week. He just had 2 of the toughest matchups and did okay in this last one. So he plays virtually every snap, runs every route. If you can only roster one guy, go with Cade Otton. But Likely, man, it's just hard to find upside like that out there.
And that's why you don't box score surf. We always say it. We've said it for years and years. If you're not going to watch the games themselves, put your trust into somebody who does. Coop watches every game. I watch every game. John and Pemba watches every game. Britt Flynn watches every game. The whole Fantasy Alarm NFL team watches games. We watch the condensed versions. We watch the live versions. We'll target the little red zone. We do it all on Sunday. So if you can't watch them all on your own, put your trust into people who actually do. Those are what you got. So you got a final point on that?
I just want to say the condensed version was where, if you watch the condensed version of that game, Isaiah Likely, you really realize how involved he is. Every single play, he's like there as part of the play. So that's all. That's all.
All right. So there you go, folks. Again, the waiver wire article at fantasyalarm.com from Britt Flynn is out there and available to you for free. We always recommend that you subscribe over to Fantasy Alarm like our good friend Robert Flores did. He's put that into the chat that he has liked and subbed to the All Pro subscription. We appreciate that. Welcome to the family, Robert. You've always been family with us because we see you here in the chats all the time. But again, check it out over at fantasyalarm.com. You can go and get yourself the subscription at fantasyalarm.com/let's go. Promo code let's go takes 50% off that first month. All right, Coop. Oh, look at that QR code right there. Jump in that QR code, baby. Hit that, subscribe. We got some great stuff coming out. And I'll tell you what, we got so much happening here for Thanksgiving and then the Sunday slate. Not subscribing would be a detriment to your play. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to say it. So scan that QR code, subscribe over to fantasyalarm.com/let's go. Promo code let's go. Let's go, Coop, to the chat. Let's meet the people before we continue on here with our work. We got everybody. So Ann Dunn's in the house. Fatty McFats is here.
Yeah.
Robert Flores. Rod Elliott seems to think that we're two absolute studs. Maybe Coop is.
Oh, Howard, don't be so modest.
Saying hi to Obi-Wan Outlaw. Mile High Luke in here. Oh, missed his 7-leg same game parlay by 1. That's a shame, dude. Yeah, sorry. That's why it's a 7-legger, and the odds are so tasty for that. But
and Pemba does that to me. He's like, oh, I missed my 13 game parlay. I'm like, yeah, duh. Like obviously, obviously you did, dude. You can't complain about that.
Let's see, what do we got? Rushman's in here. He loves the show. Thanks, Rushman. I appreciate that. Obi-Wan Outlaw in the house here. This one's for Coop. Dynasty. He lost Andrews. I have Likely, thinking about grabbing Jonnu Smith or Bellinger from the Giants.
Yeah, honestly, you can't go with Bellinger. I was hoping Bellinger would get the full workload, but basically what they've been doing is just running a lot of 4 wide and mixing and matching in that standpoint. Bellinger is not picking up the role that Waller had. So even both Jonnu and Bellinger are part-time players, but at least Jonnu's involved. He gets like a random goal line carry every once in a while, so it's got to be Jonnu. Let me know who else is out there, though. Maybe there's a sneaky name that we're not thinking about.
Like a Stone Smart. Can we pause for a moment and present Coop with his flowers for the Stone Smart call on, you did it here on the show on Thursday, and then you double down on it on the Sunday morning Sirius XM show. Stone Smart, everybody loves you, Coop, the official tight end whisperer.
My favorite part,
the greatest guy in the whole wide world.
My favorite part is that Impemba was on Parham, and for the first time, they usually split snaps. For the first time, Parham got way more snaps and way more targets, but Stone Smart broke off the 50-yard touchdown and scored more points. So John probably should have been right, but instead, we were right.
Bettercast says Garrett Wilson. I'm assuming that's Tommy saying, don't take my Devontae Adams to Kansas City. Maybe you can give him Garrett Wilson. I'll say, Tommy, I want to smoke what you're smoking right now. Speaking of Bettercast, by the way, we've got an amazing thing going on for Thanksgiving. And I'll tell you what, we're going to be doing this phenomenal full day, all these contests in conjunction with Scott Fish. Yeah, here's the QR code to download the app. But here's what we've got going on, and I'll talk about this on SiriusXM later on today. You can go to my Twitter timeline. I've got something pinned to my profile. All right, throughout the entire day, we're running a very special Scott Fish Bowl Thanksgiving Day Classic. And here's what happens. You download the BetterCast app, which is free. Okay. And then you use the code SFBC. All right. The code SFBC gets you into the all-day contest where it's pre-game prop questions, in-game prop questions. You're going to see videos with game breakdowns from me and Scott Fish. Bob Gilchrist is going to make an appearance or two. And all day long, I'm going to be in and out of the BetterCast on Thanksgiving because, I say it all the time. This family is my family. And that's how I like to spend my Thanksgiving. And we can do that all together on the BetterCast app. For every download that we get for the BetterCast app and use that code SFBC to get into the contest, we're going to donate $1 to Fantasy Cares. So we know that that's going to pile up here. So if you guys are like $1, trust me, you know what happens when a couple of thousand people start downloading the BetterCast app. When you join, again, we've got all sorts of great stuff going on there. You're going to answer the pregame and the in-game prop questions. You're going to score points for correct answers. You're going to turn those points into tickets, and then you're going to take those tickets. You're going to redeem for all sorts of free prizes like autographed sports memorabilia. I'm sure we'll have some Fantasy Alarm gear in there and all that fun stuff there. And that's an all-day Thanksgiving Day event. So spend your Thanksgiving with the family right there on the BetterCast app.
Now, just think when you go to download an app and you look at it and you say, "Oh, it's 99 cents. I'm not downloading that." This is the opposite. This is the opposite where it's free and it's $1 goes to charity, right? So get in there, download it anyway, and do a good thing, right? Do something for a good cause, and you get to hang out with us, have a bunch of fun. It's going to be a great time. So check that out, man. You got to get in there. It's always a blast just hanging out in the chat, talking a little trash.
Spread the word to everybody out there. We want to be able to, put Fantasy Alarm under with the number of donations that we're going to have to make. How about that? Do us a favor. Put us out of our misery right now.
That's right.
And make that
Send me back to my real estate job. I'm begging you.
Yeah. I would give my left nut to go back to bartending. All right, Coop, let's get back to the chat here. Rod Elliott in the house. Hold Jeff Wilson or drop Dowdle instead? Or I'm assuming he's going to say drop for Dowdle instead because I'm holding Jeff Wilson here.
Yeah, I'm going to hold Jeff Wilson. Even with Salvin Ahmed mixing in, I personally was never really on Dowdle. He's still to me just a pure handcuff, whereas Jeff Wilson, I mean, with his size and the odds, and the thing is with Raheem Mostert, I mean, like knock on wood, because I have him in a lot of leagues. The fact that he stayed healthy for this long at 31 years old, with the way he plays and his size, I mean, he's been hurt virtually every year. So Jeff Wilson's definitely a guy you want to stash if you have the bench space.
Indeed. All right, Coop, get him on. Here we go.
Yep. Twitch gang.
Get those Twitch glasses out there.
What do we got?
We got WTE Panda says, who should I target if I'm trading away Aaron Jones and Charbonnet? Someone like David Montgomery? That seems like an overpay for David Montgomery.
Yeah, seems like an overpay because Aaron Jones, so a lot of times we sit here and we say, okay, let's trade away this guy because we're worried about him. You have two guys that Aaron Jones still carries name value, and Charbonnet probably he obviously right now has the highest value he's ever had. So I would go. What I'm trying to do is get as many players that I can trust every single week down the stretch. So I'm looking for the guys that are getting it done and also playing like every snap. Like ideally, like a Travis Etienne. Obviously, he's like kind of a high end at this point, but even a Joe Mixon, right? Where Joe Mixon, even when it's bad, he's catching passes, right? So I go out and get somebody like that where you can sit there and say, all right, I got to win 3 games in a row in fantasy playoffs. Joe Mixon's going to be in my lineup every single week. So maybe even go higher. Yeah, you might be able to get Travis Etienne. I think that's the guy I would probably go for.
Oh, I like that. That. I will neither confirm nor deny that the cover of this week's watch list has one Travis Etienne on the cover. Graham Edwards in the house here. Trade question, Coop. Would you trade Saquon Barkley and Evan Engram for DeAndre Swift and Jonnu Smith? Swift playoff schedule looks great.
I would need to know who you're going to start at tight end because you're not going to start Jonnu Smith. So Graham, you let me know who you're starting at tight end. If the answer is Jonnu Smith, then don't do it.
All right. Rushman says, Hackett again. Couldn't believe people beating on Peyton. Oh, yeah. How are those Broncos now? Those Broncos look pretty darn good right now.
Look good. Yeah.
Right. And somebody who told everybody to take Cortland Sutton early, in like the 10th round of their drafts. Guess who's already returning major value on that and is only going to get better.
All that fella does is score touchdowns, dude. Every single week, huh? I mean, what is it? He only has 2 games this year without a touchdown. Crazy. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight now, and only 2 games all year with no touchdown. It's automatic.
Tommy in Bettercast is got jokes. Tim Boyle over under 83 passing yards. Screw you, Tommy. I'm taking the over.
Is that the line? I wouldn't be surprised.
No, that's his line.
And Ryan Volts in the chat, for those that missed it earlier, that is actually, those are the stats for Tim Boyle at UConn, where he played all his college football. I don't know. Amazing that that he got drafted or that he's on a team at all.
No, amazing is the fact that any Jet fan out there thinks that this is a good idea.
No, it's not.
No, Scott Frankel. I don't want to think how good the Jets might have been if they had traded a 6th round pick for Josh Dobbs. It doesn't matter. Again, it's Nathaniel Hackett. And you can put any freaking quarterback not named Aaron Rodgers out there, and I'll tell you what, the results would still suck. They would.
So Kevin O'Connell was explaining all the plays to Josh Dobbs in the headset. Just imagine Nathaniel Hackett trying to do that for the same thing. It would have been a nightmare, dude. It would have been a complete nightmare.
Britt Flynn says she's working on the matchup previews and she's stuck on a game. I don't know which game she's stuck on, but I'll say this. She's putting those previews out early this week, guys. So make sure you get in on that. Her work has been phenomenal.
As Tommy DeVito would say. Try boom.
Yeah. We care about as much of what Tommy DeVito has to say as we do about Tim Boyle. Mile High Luke wants to know, what's the going price for Herbert in a Superflex dynasty?
Expensive.
Yeah.
Assuming you're talking about Justin Jefferson and not Khalil Herbert. Like, you don't get discounts on guys like that, man. You just don't. Because the guy who has Herbert still treats him like his only child. So you're not getting any discount, dude. No chance.
Dustin Ludke wants to know, what's up, Dustin? No beer chugging on this show?
Oh, yeah. That was yesterday. So back in May, Howard, I was on a show and kind of just like the Fantasy and Frames guys with like Gator and them. And I was like, in May, I was like, if Stone Smart scores a touchdown this year, I'll come on the show and do the Stone Cold beer chug with you guys. And sure enough, we had to drop that yesterday. So if you want to see that, that's on my timeline. Really threw my Monday night for a loop, not gonna lie. Was not planning on double chugging beers at like 7 o'clock. So
right, isn't that great for caring for a baby?
That's right, dude. Yeah, I was off duty. A lot making up for that today for sure.
Evan Gittleman in the house. What's up, Evan? He just got an offer where he receives Josh Allen and Nico Collins. He gives up CeeDee Lamb and Jordan Love. He just lost Burrow. He's 6-5. Allen still has his bye and he's got Baker. Does he accept this deal? Josh Allen and Nico Collins for CeeDee Lamb and Jordan Love.
I think you do it, dude. I think you do it. The fact that you're still getting Nico, I mean, it sucks that you have to give up CeeDee Lamb because he's been so good. But the fact that you're still getting Nico back is you're kind of getting bailed out. The other person must have another quarterback, right? If they're willing to do that. I think I would try. Sure. I think I would do it for Allen and Nico.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to give up CD as well, but you got to do what you got to do. And if you're 6-5 and you're on the playoff bubble, you need a QB, and Baker Mayfield ain't going to cut it. He's a 1-week streamer maybe at most, but so that's about it. Ryan Volts also he predicted Wicks last week. I do remember that.
You did do that. You did say that.
I remember it. Absolutely. I probably was like, yeah, okay, Wicks.
Yeah, I definitely did. I was like, no. I did that to somebody on Sunday too. They were like, what about Royce Freeman? I was like, don't ever ask me about Royce Freeman. And then Royce Freeman got like 20 carries, dude. So don't listen to me.
Floyd Brown wants to know if he won this trade. If it helped your team, then yes, you're a winner. He traded away Stephon Diggs and Derrick Henry for Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, and Tony Pollard. It's a standard league. He's 5-6, still in the last playoff spot right now.
Yeah, I like it, man. I think Pollard for Henry is about fair, and if both Chase and Adams go in your lineup, then it's a good deal. I know that Burrow's out, but how far can we really truly move Chase down? There's not enough dependable wide receivers in this world to move Chase out of the top 20.
I agree. I do not hate Jake Browning. I mean, I don't love Jake Browning, but I also don't hate Jake Browning. So
at least he's coaching the Bengals. I mean, at least he's a quarterback for the Bengals. He could be the quarterback for another team, and it would be a nightmare. He could be a quarterback for the Giants. So, he's not in a bad spot.
Yeah. Obi-Wan Outlaw, who had that tight end question before and we were trading away, says Gerald Everett is still available. That's not going to cut it.
Everett's played 24 games since he's been with the Chargers, and he's only played 3 games where he played more than 70% of the snaps, and he's never played 80% of the snaps in the game. This is a part-time player, even when healthy, even when Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are out, like they just don't view him as a full-time player. So he's not going to come back and be a full-time guy. He wasn't before.
All right. I agree with you on that one. Sorry, I was just looking up for this next question. I was just looking at a matchup here. Justin Herbert or Brock Purdy this weekend? Herbert going up against the Baltimore Ravens. Purdy going up against Seattle on Thanksgiving.
Oh, man.
I'm leaning Herbert. I know that the Ravens have a tough team there, but that also tells me that Herbert's going to be slinging the rock a bunch, especially in this Kellen Moore offense.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Purdy's he's so solid, but I have a hard time getting excited about him, man. I think I'm going to go Herbert.
I'm going to go Herbert as well. Pandavision says, yo, what's up?
Oh, Twitch gang.
Yeah, get a little Twitch class on there.
Why not?
We're hearing right now. So for the Thanksgiving, the grand prize to the big winner on Thanksgiving Day. How about this one here? The Scott Fish Bowl Trophy Football, which is a Scott Fish Bowl football with autographed by Scott Fish himself. That and 25,000 tickets. So
damn.
Redeemable again for autographed sports memorabilia. All right, so there you go. Look at that QR code right there. Zap that. There's the football that you're going to end up winning. 25,000 tickets is a ridiculously high number of tickets. And oh baby, that's going to get you some good stuff.
That's sick.
There we go.
Am I eligible to win that?
No. Sorry. But you know what? Baby Laney is. So maybe she sets up an account over there. Huh?
Download it on her
Auntie Coop, eligible to win.
That's how we're getting that ball.
You know what? I'll Facebook
and then she can give it to me for Christmas.
I'll Facebook Messenger her.
Oh, yeah. I know you guys are friends on there, dude. Dangerous. Your friend.
This is not Nam. There are rules.
No, there are no rules.
Yeah. Well, everyone out there, we've just confirmed that if you do win, you are allowed to gift me that football. So just keep that in mind. Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. Christmas is coming up.
All right. Before we get back to the chat, want to shout out our wonderful sponsors, Underdog Fantasy. You guys, if you aren't playing those pick'em contests over at Underdog Fantasy, scan that QR code right there, or you can go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use the promo code ALARM, and you'll get an instant deposit match up to $100. Throw that into their pick'em contest. Not the full 100. You can just throw in, something else in there. Throw in $10, $20, however, whatever stakes you want to do. But what you do is in their pick'em contest, Christian McCaffrey is their little gimme for Thanksgiving. So it's higher or lower than half a yard for Christian McCaffrey. Something tells me you're going to want to go higher. But Coop, let's give them a couple of picks to pair up with that, and they can 3x or 6x their money. Where are you going?
Yeah, and I noticed that for the Thanksgiving slate, they look like I think they're little jalapenos or peppers or something. Some players have additional bonuses right now, and they're all Thanksgiving players. So, some of them where usually it's, you pick it and then it's kind of an even number, and then you get a certain amount in when, depending on how many you pick, like 5 guys or 4 guys. In this case, if you pick one like Christian Watson, you can get 1.75x on that. So they got little bonuses, and I already liked one of these players, but you can get a little bonus on it. So I alluded to it earlier that I like Zach Charbonnet to score. It's 0.5 rush or receiving TD. So he just needs to score a touchdown of any kind. And we might say to ourselves, oh, San Francisco, blah, 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 they're such a good defense and all. They're actually 23rd in DVOA versus the run. So, a receiving touchdown does it, a passing touchdown does it, but I'm going higher than that, and you get a little bonus, 1.25x on that one for the holiday. So it's even sweeter than normal.
Love that. I'm going to stay.
Burns with
I'm going to stay in that same game there, and I'm just going to say Brock Purdy. 1.5 passing touchdowns higher for me. Higher, I say. Brian Burns, I said higher. There it is. Listen, with the weaponry that he's got, McCaffrey catches passes, Ayuk, Debo, Kittle. I mean, this is a very, very efficiently run offense. And Seattle's defense, while they've got Leonard Williams and they've got Devin Witherspoon, Jamal Adams, there are holes to be had here. And I'm willing to bet that Brock Purdy finds at least 2 through the air. So Brock Purdy, 1.5 passing touchdowns higher. Zach Charbonnet, half a rushing and receiving touchdown. Coop says higher for the bonus money. And then, of course, you can pair that with their featured player, Christian McCaffrey, higher than half a total yard. Those are our picks. Again, Underdog Fantasy is where you want to be. Go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use the promo code ALARM. And that'll get you a deposit match instantly up to $100 on your first deposit. This QR code right there. That's what it's all about. Back to the chat, Coop. Here we go.
Let's go.
Victor Omilis is in here trying to get ahead of the Hawkinson bye week. Got Taysom Hill, Cade Otton, David Njoku, Luke Musgrave, Freiermuth available. He says, ugh. I say make lemonade out of lemons.
I was going to say, I've seen way worse, brother.
Way worse.
In this very chat, somebody was trying to trade for Jonnu Smith, dude. So I actually don't mind that at all. And there's 2 that I like. I like the Njoku one. I mean, Njoku's getting the Rams. That's one of the best matchups out there. He just got 15 targets this week, which it ties the highest anyone got all year. I think Hawkinson also had a 15 target game. And I also like Cade Otton. So in this instance, I wouldn't go overboard spending money. I'd be cool with either Njoku or Otton. You go Otton against the Panthers, but Njoku's probably where I'm going to go.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot for sure. GT Sport in the house here. How do you guys feel about James Conner? I love James Conner, but the question is, James Conner, Zach Charbonnet, or Najee? We'll leave Najee out of it, since Jalen Warren is the number 1 running back over there. Charbonnet versus San Francisco. Connor going up against the Rams this week.
I think I was still, I feel like I trust James Conner with my life. Like when he plays, he's so good. But it's, and you can't, the only problem is he's never been bad. He's only been hurt. So if he's healthy, I'm starting James Conner.
I agree with that statement. Oh, Graham Edwards says that he's got Kincaid at tight end. So he was John who's going to be the backup.
Do it. Yeah.
Make that move, Graham.
And then drop Jonnu for, actually, I guess you can use Jonnu for Kincaid's bye week. So there you go.
Hal says between weeks 2 and 3 traded Sutton and Kyron Williams for Olave. I'm sorry, Hal.
At the
time, of a move.
At the time, that felt like a pretty good deal.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
Maybe at the time.
Kyron Williams was already the number 1 running back.
That's true.
He already had a 2 touchdown game in week 1, right? And then he got into the end zone again in week 2.
Yeah, he was already popping actually. So.
Yeah. And Brian Burns, our illustrious producer, says that if Carr comes back, Olave sucks again.
I mean, it's kind of true. Jameis Winston is good for Rashid Shaheed. He's good for Chris Olave, and he's bad for Taysom Hill, because Taysom Hill, the Derek Carr dink and dunk machine that would just bring them down to the red zone where Taysom Hill would do something crazy. That was amazing for Taysom Hill. The last thing you want is a 20-plus yard touchdown to Rashid Shaheed. Derek Carr only threw 2 20-plus touchdowns all year. So Jameis Winston throwing picks and throwing long touchdowns is actually terrible for Taysom Hill.
Britt Flynn says she's writing about the Jets-Dolphin game right now, and it's making her physically sick to her stomach. Go to the bar, get yourself a shot of Fernet Branca, and power through, Britt. Power through.
I'll fix you up. The thing that the Jets are so tough, man, because that defense is still so good. Like, I watch them every week, and it's just like half a team. It's half a team playing a game, and they don't get enough credit for how good they are.
Ryan Volt says the Packers love extreme projects like Boyle or something. I don't know. The Packers love it. How about the Jets?
Extreme quarterback makeover.
Nino Pena wants to know thoughts on Warren with Canada gone. Does it change much?
I don't think it does, because these guys, when they come in, they really don't do, they don't do drastic things, right? Their job is just to like keep the ship afloat. So I think they're going to keep it the same. But we do know Eddie Faulkner does love Najee Harris. So I think it just stays a split.
Yeah, think it stays a split too. But you know what? It was Tomlin who said it's time for Warren, right? It wasn't Canada who said it. It was Tomlin who did. I mean, he fit Canada's scheme pretty well, but again, yeah, Pittsburgh's not going to shake things up that much. So GT Sports says Browning or DTR. He needs a super flex QB. Lost Burrow. I say Browning over DTR.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially with the matchup, because the Broncos defense is kind of hot right now. So I'm not really loving the Browns to go into Mile High Stadium and score a bunch of points. Are you?
No, I'm not really expecting a big turnaround there. I was surprised. That game is kind of, it's got a low total on it. I think it's like a 33 or 34.5 over under on that one. And I think Pittsburgh's favored by a point. Right.
Like the Bengals, I mean, I'm surprised the Bengals are still with the backup quarterback. I mean, the books are saying, hey, you know what? They have a shot to win this. I mean, the Steelers have a better record than the Bengals. Like, I know that we don't believe that they're a better team. The Steelers are 6-4. The Bengals are 5-1, and the Bengals just lost their quarterback. And the books are saying, you know what, Bengals could win still. So that has me leaning towards Browning.
Coop Nino Pena's got a little Thanksgiving Day parlay. What do you think?
What you
All
got?
Lions here. Gibbs TD, Montgomery, Monty TD. Lions cover the spread and the under on Jared Goff's passing yards. I don't hate that against Green Bay.
Yeah, I think it's a good bet. I don't want it to happen. I like games. I like on Thanksgiving when we have, these single game slates. I like when the ball is flying around. So I don't want to. I don't necessarily want.
It's the first game. You got to ease into it, Coop.
Right,
you're gonna get Sam Howell and Dak Prescott going bing bing like Yosemite Sam. Pow, 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 pow.
I guess, yeah. I guess during that game, I'm usually like sipping a little French onion soup. So I don't necessarily want to be. I don't necessarily want to be flipping the coffee table at that stage. So yeah, okay, we can do a little running in that game, but I don't know. I like fireworks.
Rod Elliott wants to know: should we be holding Fournette still? I tell you, man, with the move to Joe Brady, James Cook was like, I'm up. I'm awake.
I have a league with Fournette, and I keep dropping my defense for new defense, and instead of dropping Fournette and just having two defenses, and every time I drop a defense, the defense I drop goes off, and the defense I pick up does terrible. Every time.
All right, so maybe you should tweet to everybody what defense you're dropping so we know to pick them up.
Like, I picked up Washington, and they let Tommy DeVito throw 3 touchdown passes. It's like I'm like poisoned right now. So yeah, I'll let you know which defense to avoid this week, or maybe I'll just do the right thing and drop Fournette because he hasn't even been activated.
Hal's still trying to find a little solace here. He had Chase, DJ Moore, Ridley on that Sutton team, and Javonte Williams and Russell Wilson. So he had himself a Denver stack when he made that trade. You know what, Hal? I don't care. I'm not your priest, buddy. I'm not here to absolve you of anything. I didn't like the deal. I love you.
Should have came through the chat with that. I probably would have said to do it. I probably did at some point say to do that. But
wah, wah. Bronson Hero is that Bronson Hao says Heyo. Trade Trevor Lawrence and Cortland Sutton for Justin Herbert or Jalen Hurts.
I would only do that if Sutton is your 5th best wide receiver. Or like your 4th and you have 3 running backs, you're definitely going to start the flex. Don't trade a guy out of your lineup to make that move, because I like what I saw out of Trevor Lawrence this week, and I think his schedule is actually pretty good. Like, you're not going to bet on him to have 2 rushing touchdowns every game, but I mean, he gets Houston, right? His 2, if you can make it through the wild card week with Baltimore, he gets Tampa Bay and Carolina as the last 2 games. That's feeling all right with me.
All right. Rob Fossil says he's got Drake London, Brandon Cooks, Chris Olave, Cortland Sutton, Rashid Shaheed. It's PPR, and he needs 2. Well, first and foremost, we need to see who the quarterback is for New Orleans before we can really kind of assess those guys there. I do like using Brandon Cooks on Thanksgiving against Washington. So I would say you can start Brandon Cooks in one of your wide receiver spots, and then let's revisit. Like on Friday or Saturday before the other guys play, and you need to make that decision.
Right. London's gonna get Lattimore. So I'm actually London. I think I'm already ruling out. I think what you do is you start Cooks and then you start either Olave if Winston starts and Sutton otherwise. Yeah.
All right. Beautiful. Dustin says Fournette should win comeback player of the year because he's playing as much as DeMar Hamlin. Come on, no. Dustin.
Dustin's a Bills fan, so he can say that. And I will say this real quick. We were talking about Oreo cookies on Sunday morning. I think I said Aaron Jones is like an Oreo cookie. You think he's kind of boring and you forget how good he is until you're like you have one. Dustin put me on Dustin put me onto hot cocoa Oreos. If you see those at the grocery store, you got to snag those up.
Oh, I did see them the other day, actually.
Dude, unreal, man.
Okay.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
No.
Good. If you're an Oreo guy, they're my opinion is they might just be flat out better, but they're at least different enough that it's good to mix them in and then go back. So yeah, check those ones out. Ooh, Burns says there's creme brulee Oreos.
There's a ton of different kind of Oreos there. Stop tempting me, you cookie temptrists, you.
I forgot you were on a diet.
On a diet for crying out loud. Hal says he was in on Denver. Yeah, I was last year too. That was let's see how that happened there.
There's nothing better than being right and then turning around and changing your mind and being wrong. If you would just, I do research for like 9 months in the off season, and then like on draft day, I'm just like, nah, I'll take this other guy, and it keeps me up at night.
Ryan Volt says he's put Herbert and Keenan Allen on the block in his 1 QB dynasty league, looking for a reset. What should I expect in return? I mean, Herbert and Keenan Allen. I mean, Herbert still has great value in Dynasty. That dude's going to play for a while. Keenan Allen, he's getting a little long in the tooth, but I mean, you're giving up a major, offensive component that's going to be locked in for at least another 2 years. So,
yeah, with Dynasty trades, I wouldn't think so much about yourself. Think about who you can help. Don't just put the guys on the block and say, come get them, boys. Go look around and say, who needs a quarterback? Who needs a pass catcher? Like if you can get a young wide receiver that we believe in, then we think his window is coming down the road, like a Jalen Waddle, where he's only 24 and the AJ Pex is 27 and Tyreek Hill turns 30 this offseason. If you can do that, then do that, or go to go look around those teams and try and get more than a first round pick. But it's hard because like whoever you're trading with, that's going to make their team a lot better, and that pick is going to get worse. So you got to make sure you're getting a lot back. Definitely go after the people that have other people's picks. That's who you should trade with.
All right. Well, there we go. We've cleared the deck here of the chat. Scott Frankel talking about people rostering Fournette, same people who picked up Martavis Bryant. No, not true. I get the sentiment here, but Martavis Bryant, forget that. That was nuts. That was nuts.
Good. All set.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here on Alarm Fantasy Football. I want to thank everybody who is in the chat, everybody for liking, for subscribing, all that great stuff that we have over here. Again, fantasyalarm.com/let's go. Promo code let's go gets you that subscription for 50% off your first month. You're going to want to do that. On Thanksgiving Day, we've got the Better Cast, that the Scott Fishbowl Classic. That's going the entire Thanksgiving Day. You can scan that QR code right there. And of course, we've got everything going on over at fantasyalarm.com. Look, people sneaking in couple of quick questions. Ann Dunn says, Howell Thursday or Fields?
I'm going with Fields still.
Fields, 100%. 100%.
Straight for 100 yards.
Who's your favorite defense this week? Chargy65 wants to know.
My number one defense is actually it's still the Cowboys, but I have the Steelers pretty high going against Browning, and also the Broncos pretty high going against. I'm like targeting these backup quarterbacks. I mean, if you can start, the Dolphins against.
I was just gonna say
Boyle.
The answer is the Dolphins.
Yeah. Like if you can, right? Yeah, if you can go and get those guys. But the Cowboys, I feel like they are just generating sacks and turnovers at a crazy level. So, but they're obviously rostered.
All right. Well, then that's going to do it for us. Everybody out there, we'll see you tomorrow. Coop and I will be here same time tomorrow. We'll handle all the lineup questions that you need for Thursday's games. If we don't talk to you then, have a very happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in the BetterCast app all Thanksgiving Day. For Andrew Cooper, I'm Howard Bender. This has been Alarm Fantasy Football, and we'll catch you next time.